Hello, my sweet summer children. I'm back with the juice. So American Horror Story 1984, episode 1, Camp Redwood, came out, and I'm here to break it down like only I can break it down. I'm pulling out Easter eggs, and these Easter eggs could be potential spoilers. Like, I'm 100% sure I know who the hiker is, but let's slow down. Let's slow down. The first scene, we are at Camp Redwood in 1970, and 3 camp counselors are getting their little threesome popping. The threesome gets wrecked by a serial killer, Mr. Jingles. Mr. Jingles is a serial killer that went on a killing spree at Camp Redwood. He allegedly collected the ears of his victims and put them on a necklace. But we have seen him kill 2 people, and he didn't take their ears. He gets the name Mr. Jingles because he has keys that jingle at his side. We're going to talk about him in depth, but first, we go to an aerobics class. Xavier seems to be teaching the class, and we are introduced to the most of the cast: Xavier, Montana, Ray, and Chet, and Brooke. They are all in summer size class. Montana and Brooke have a chat in the shower room and locker room of the gym. Montana introduces Brooke, the new girl in town, to her friends Ray, Chet, and Xavier. Xavier invites them to Camp Redwood. Everyone is going with the exception of Brooke. Brooke's like, no, I have class. I'm going to be a vet assistant. Brooke, being the new girl, kind of makes my spidey senses tingle. And the whole thing with the Night Stalker also has me raising my eyebrows at Brooke. When she first meets the gang and Xavier is talking about the murder and the Night Stalker, Brooke blurts out the most randomest shit ever. But then again, it doesn't really seem random. She said, I heard serial killers become more active in the summer months when it's hot because some people sleep with their windows open at night. Have you ever heard that? Because I've never heard that. Do serial killers really become more active in the summer months? Anyway, she goes home and sleeps with her window open at night, knowing this bit of information. And then Ricky Ramirez comes in because, coming through the windows, the Night Stalker, that's Ricky's M.O. You remember Ricky Ramirez, aka the Night Stalker from Hotel? He attended Devil's Night with James Patrick March. So before Brooke goes to bed, she puts her earrings in a jewelry box and looks at this very specific diamond ring. And this is the only thing that the Night Stalker takes from her apartment. So she rocks his shit with a cast iron pan, and her neighbor hears and calls the cops, and he says, I'll find you. Satan will show me the way. Ricky Ramirez is a known Satanist, and we see him later at the camp. I think this ring might be important for some reason because it was the only thing that he took, and there was gold necklaces just to the right of them, and they wanted us to see her longingly stare at this ring. The ring is definitely a clue. But then, boom, they're all in a van on their way to Camp Redwood. So they stop at the gas station, and the creepy local man is like, no, turn back, you're gonna die. It's like a classic horror trope. Anyway, Xavier checks his voicemail, and someone is pissed with him. There's nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. You can't take your dick and leave. I know right where you're going. Xavier is also very suspect. I noticed a few red flags with him. The voicemail for one, but also after they leave the gas station, Chet says we were supposed to turn back there. And he's like, nah, it's a side road. This way is much faster. And then Montana's like, you've never been here before. How do you know? And he's all like, instincts. So either his instincts are really good or this isn't his first time at Camp Redwood. So boom, they hit a man. And he doesn't remember who he is. And he says, you gotta believe me, I tried. Tried what, sir? You're useless in this state. You're useless right now. You're useless. But I think I know who he is. But I'm going to get back to that. They arrive to Camp Redwood, and we are introduced to the most sketchy of the sketch. Just the sketchiest. The owner of Camp Redwood, Margaret Booth. So we are introduced to Nurse Rita and Chef Birdie, but Margaret Booth reminds me of Miss Voorhees. But anyways, she's a Bible hugger, and she's sketchy as fuck. So Chef Birdie worked there before. She worked there in 1970. And when she says that one bad apple line, it seems like Margaret is looking guilty. Anyways, they are gathered around a campfire with Nurse Rita, and Nurse Rita starts making a whole lot of sense. She starts questioning how they got these jobs when they don't have any experience. She's like, nobody wants to be in Camp Redwood. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. So why the hell are you there? And you know all the stories. She's an ER nurse. The ER doesn't close for summer, so why be a nurse at Camp Redwood? Could there be something else going on? And why are these the only camp counselors? If Xavier hadn't asked them literally the day before camp, then the camp wouldn't have counselors. The camp would have no counselors because there's no other counselors there that we have seen so far. Anyway, Rita tells them the story of Mr. Jangles, and Margaret pops out of the bushes where she's been watching them and tells the story as she remembers it. But she's lying. And I can prove it. Her story doesn't match, and I have the proof. What we've seen happen in the opening isn't the same. She basically says that he cut my ear off and I didn't scream. But in the beginning, we've seen that he didn't stop and cut off her ear like she says he did. So in 2006, there was this low-budget movie called Mr. Jangles, and it was about a clown that saved a child, and then he was wrongly lynched, and the police tried to cover it up, and he comes back for revenge. So could Margaret have actually been the killer and the star witness that convicted Mr. Jangles and got him convicted of this crime that he didn't commit, and actually she committed it, or she was covering for someone else? As I stated, we have seen him kill 2 people, and he did not take their ears as trophies. When we get to the mental hospital, it's Halloween, it's Michael Myers, even with the Dr. Loomis. Mr. Jangles is free. He's escaped. He's killed someone and he let out all the psychos and he escaped himself. And this lady finds a newspaper clipping where he has circled Margaret in blood. Oops, she's marked. Then there is the whole dilemma of the hiker. The hiker's ear is missing and Mr. Jangles hasn't escaped at this point. The hiker could likely be a ghost though, like Hotel, Coven, and Murder House. Maybe Camp Redwood is filled with the ghosts of the people who died there. There were only 9 bodies on the floor. One was supposed to be Margaret, and she lived. So technically, there are only 8. 1 male and 6 females, and Margaret. So 1 person is missing out of the 9 victims. Also, his attire. His attire is very 70s and not 80s. I mean, the shell necklace. The shell necklace is a huge clue. The shell necklace was introduced in 1970 by 70s heartthrob David Cassidy from the Partridge Family. The headband is also very 1970s. I think he's a ghost, and I'll show you the other evidence as we continue. So we then meet Trevor, the activities director that's got a schlong like an elephant. Like, they really showed it. Like, why was he wearing those short shorts? I mean, come on. It was about to fall out. Montana and Trevor start getting a little lusty in the lake, and boom, headlights. Now, you may think the headlights are Mr. Jangles, but they can't be Mr. Jangles because Montana says a storm is coming, and then we hear it in the distance. But when Mr. Jangles gets out of the hospital, it's raining already. You can see it in the window. You can also see that it's already started when he's at Roy's gas station stealing the truck. And if you look on the TV at the gas station, it seems like the same Olympic ceremony that they are watching back at Camp Redwood. So this would mean that whoever was chasing Brooke might not be Mr. Jangles, because Mr. Jangles is at the gas station when this ceremony is on. So back at the camp, they're watching the opening ceremony of the Olympics, and Ray gets cut by Chet accidentally, and Nurse Rita is in there acting like some of my coworkers, like, get your own damn Band-Aids. I'm off the clock. So Brooke goes out to check on Ray, and Mr. Jangles has arrived to Camp Redwood. Or has he? Anyway, someone is chasing Brooke. Brooke goes out to check on Ray, and Mr. Jangles has arrived to Camp Redwood. So Brooke goes to find some first aid supplies. The hiker is dead on the door, and someone that looks to be Mr. Jangles is trying to kill Brooke. This is intercut with the Olympics torch lighting ceremony. So if Camp Redwood is some big brother Olympic homicide game, it's gonna be good. So anyway, she escapes. Tells them, she's like freaking out. She tells them it's Mr. Jangles. So they go with her to check the hiker. Another reason I think the hiker is a ghost is because we saw the hiker dead on the door, bloody and nailed to the door. But when we go looking, the hiker is gone, no blood left behind, no nail marks on the door or anything. So then Margaret appears looking very Mr. Jingly. I almost think that this plot point of Margaret being the real killer that framed Mr. Jingles is almost too obvious. And likely this is what they want us to think. This is what they want us to believe. Or something like that. Because it's seeming just too hella obvious. The next hint that the hiker is a ghost is that someone calls the payphone. And Brooke is all like, the hiker said the phone lines were down. Well, yeah, they probably were down when he was alive. So Brooke goes outside to answer it like a dumbass. Yeah, you were just chased by a serial killer and you just walk out alone to answer a ringing payphone in the middle of camp in the middle of the night. So she goes out there and then boom, the Night Stalker is there. The Night Stalker may have some connection to Xavier. Xavier seemed to have some knowledge about the Night Stalker. He says from a cop that's his cousin, but I don't know if I believe him. He could have got the details from the Night Stalker himself because Xavier got that weird voicemail that could have been the Night Stalker, as he said he knew where Xavier was going. So the Night Stalker could be that person. When I watched the preview, I didn't see one child at this summer camp. Like low-key, I didn't see no children in none of the previews, not one. And it would be hilarious if no kids ever come. I wouldn't send my goldfish to Camp Redwood. Like, there were tons of slasher film Easter eggs. I Know What You Did Last Summer with the hidden-faced raincoat killer hitting someone in the middle of the road. Heavy Michael Myers vibes with the whole hospital scene. The limp of Mr. Jingles is that slow walk trademark of classic 80s slashers. Camp Redwood definitely looks like Camp Crystal Lake. So there are some Friday the 13th vibes as well. Margaret giving off hella Miss Voorhees vibes. There has to be some Nightmare on Elm Street element in this series. I just haven't noticed it yet. I feel like you really can't do 1980s slashers and exclude Freddy Krueger. But what do you think of the first episode of AHS 1984? I really liked it and I cannot wait to see this play out. I will be reviewing every episode, and if I come up with any theories along the way, I will post them. As always, thanks for watching. Thanks to everyone that supports me on Patreon. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please click that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and join the sweet summer family. Okay, my sweet summer children, have a good day.